Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of selections from Prometheus Bound, and we're up to the second episode, starting at line 436. And this is quite a famous passage here where Prometheus is talking to the chorus, but he outlines all of the various boons or gifts that he gave to mankind after describing the terrible situation that they were in. And it's an interesting passage because it undoubtedly reflects some of the theories and ideas that were current in Athens at the time, given by the philosophers and the sophists. So he begins with me toi klidei doketi me di authadiai sigan me. Again, we've got two iota adscripts here, would be written underneath in other scripts. We get may plus an imperative. So do not in fact think that me to be silent, so do not think that I am silent. Klidei by arrogance or insolence. The usual meaning of this is luxury or effeminacy, but it has a secondary meaning of corresponding to that sense of being rich and luxurious, of being arrogant and insolent. So do not think that I'm silent because of arrogance or authadiai, again iota adscript, stubbornness, but horon, the participle here, looking at myself thus maltreated. This is a funny word, it's a doubtful derivation, it's not known. Even from antiquity, we don't know exactly how this, but the meaning of it is generally taken as maltreated. It's a passive participle here. So seeing myself maltreated in this way, daptomai, literally I bite my heart, or I am beaten in respect of my heart. It could be passive as well. So we'd say my heart is bitten. My heart is bitten. Sun noyai, with anxious thought. So literally, I am bitten in respect of my heart. Kaitoi, theoisi tois ni ois to tois gera, tis alos a ego, pantelos di orisen. We get a question here. So the kaitoi, furthermore, the main verb here is diorisdo, which is to divide up or portion. So who, other than I, who else but I, apportioned, now the pantelos completely, or perhaps finally, so apportioned the gera, the gifts or privileges, to these new gods. So who was it apart from me who distributed these gera, these gifts or privileges to the new gods? Al autasigo, but on these matters I am silent. Kaiga e duiai sin an humin legoimi. This is one of these typical sentences in Greek where you've got to supply, if I were not silent, then I would be doing something. So we can get around it in English by using otherwise. So for otherwise, I would be speaking to you, I would be telling you who already know these things. This is a feminine participle here from oida. So I'll be silent on these things, for otherwise I would be speaking to you who already know them. Tan brotois permata, tan for ta'en. So another imperative, akusath, here, the paemata, the miseries among mortals. Hos spasnepios ontus ta prin enus etheka kaithphrenon epebolus. How, I think here with that accent, so how I placed enus, so how I made them, literally I placed things in their mind, so I gave them sense, and literally to be in possession of thought. This is a little bit like the Latin compos. I made them compos mentis. I made them. I gave them consciousness or common sense or sanity almost. Them spas. Those being top prin previously napius, childlike. So here the sufferings of mortals, how I gave them thought and made them to be in possession of phrenon, of their minds. This is a genitive plural here from phrein. They being previously napius, childlike. Lexo demempsin utin anthropois ekon. So I will speak these things, understood, literally having not any mempsin, not any blame for mortals. So I'll tell you these things, but I'm not blaming mortals for them. But ex hegumenos, well, something like explaining the eunoia, the goodwill, and then we've got to supply two-tone of those things which I gave them. So I will tell you this without any blame for mortals, but explaining the goodwill of those things or behind the things I gave them. Hoi protomen blepontes eblepon matain. So hoi, they who at first, and we get a men, and I don't think there's a corresponding det here, probably the Allah might balance it to some extent. So who, first of all, seeing, literally they were seeing in vain, matan, and kluontes uk ekuon, listening they did not hear. But ton macron bion is funny expression here, it's almost adverbial, so all their length of days, like to the forms of dreams, ephuron, this is from furo, to mix. So literally they were mixing everything up, ak, again iota add script here, at random. So I'm mixing up everything at random. So just to do that bit again, so all of their length of days, like to the forms of dreams, they were mixing up all things in random. It's an interesting metaphor here, because often in dreams things do all seem very strange and at random and don't make much sense, and that's the metaphor he's using here. Kuti for kai uti. The plinthufes is plinthufes, it's a third declension adjective, it's connected with that plinthos, we get our word plinth here. It's literally woven by bricks, or so brick built. The word only occurs here. So, and neither, now, Aesan, again here to add script, is from oida. It's a funny form from oida. So neither did they know or understand how to build. Well, perhaps did they have the notion of brick-built houses, pros aelus. This is a fairly rare adjective here. It means towards the sun, so facing the sun. The root here is there's a fairly rare word, hale, iota, epsilon iota lambda eta. Hale means the sun's heat. So nor did they understand brick-built houses facing towards the east, i.e. towards the sun, nor sulurgian, you see the roots here of sulon, of wood, and the erg root, nor woodwork, nor how to work in wood. But Enion, they were dwelling cat orukes. This is connected with oruso, to dig. So this is just an adverb here meaning underground. So they were living underground. Hosty for hose. And we get another simile here. The myrmekes from myrmekes is an ant. And the asuroi, funny word, it's very rare, it's only here in Apollonius of Rhodes. It means something like light as wind, so easily moved, light as air, I should say. Often translated as scurrying, I think. So they lived underground like scurrying ants in the sunless recesses of caves. So this is from alpha privative plus helios, which is probably true that our ancestors far back enough lived in caves, and so the Greeks realised this. Ein de uden autois uti kaimatos tekmar. Now a tekmar is a fixed marker or sign, and it here is going with the bebion, which is something like certain, perhaps dependable might be a good translation here. So nor was there a dependable sign or marker of kaimatos, of winter, from kema, nor of flowery spring, nor of fruitful summer. This is a genitive here from totheros, third declension neuter. Al arter gnomes topan eprasen. But they fared, topan is adverbial, completely. So they were doing everything completely, arter gnomes, without any sense. Gnome is a huge range of meanings. Arter takes a genitive, so without any careful planning or thought or sense, they were doing everything, or they were doing it completely, taking this adverbially. Ester day, and that day is very emphatic, until in fact, ego I, put at the end of the line for emphasis, edeixa, I showed, spin for spisi, I showed to them, almost explained to them, I pointed out to them, the risings of the stars and their settings, the duses, third declension noun, and the settings which are dus kritus, which are hard to discern. Might be good for that one from Crino, that are hard to discern. Kaimen arithmon, exokon, sophismaton, and indeed ex heron autos, I invented for them number, the best of, clever contrivances, perhaps best of the sciences almost here, which is a nice nod to mathematics here. And the sun thesis, from sun and tithemi, the putting together, literally, of putting together of grammatone, of letters, i.e. writing. Meneme hapantone, an interesting expression here. It's almost like our word mnemonic. So a way of remembering everything, a remembrance of all things. So a way of remembering all things. And the creative mother of the muses, which I think is a reference here to the idea of memory with a capital M. Kaxiuxa protos. Now this is kai etsiuxa from Numi, I think. So, and I yoked, I was the first one who yoked Conodula, these are wild creatures or brute beasts, in under the yoke, in tsugoisi, literally in yokes. So under the yoke. Just straighten that up a bit there. Under the yoke. And so it's teuglyce. Now a teugle is a loop or a rope made in the form of a loop, or a loop attached to the rope, used to of course tie the animals. So having enslaved them with these ropes, or with these loops of ropes, somasi de hopos neatois megiston diadoke. So the hopos goes with the genointh here, from genoint, it's an optative. So that they might become, that is, the beasts might become, diadokoi, literally successors, so ones who take over from, ones who take over the greatest labours for mortal bodies, literally, because they then become the, well, as we say, the workhorses, well, or here the oxen. Agagon, I led horses who are philaneus, who are fond of reins, perhaps accepting of the reins, under the chariot. Agalma, well, word meaning a delight, or so pleasing gift, or so a delight of excessively wealthy, clide, luxury. And utis alos ant emu, and nobody else except me, I invented. Now we get this very poetic expressions here. It's literally sea wandering, linen winged cars of sailors, i.e. fancy way of saying ships. So it was nobody else but me who contrived these vessels, perhaps for sailors, which have linen wings, i.e. sails, and which roam the sea. Toi auta me, straighten this up here, so toi auta me kenemak ex huron talas. So alas, poor me, Talas, having invented such contrivances for mortals, autos uk echo, I myself do not have sophisma, I do not have some clever means, hotoi, by which apallago, this is from to separate, by which I might I might separate myself from this present misery. I might separate myself from my present suffering. And that's the end of Prometheus's speech.